this video, we'll be looking at Cardano ADA and how it sits right now in comparison to all of the competition. I'll be going over all of the applications that have launched throughout this bear market, what they're doing, who they're competing with, the users right here, the uptake of them, and if Cardano ADA is, valued appropriately or not. It's a big video with lots of different sections, so I will leave timestamps below. Let's firstly go over what has been built on Cardano throughout this bear market. It's been a long and arduous bear market, but an entire DeFi ecosystem has basically been built throughout that on Cardano. Before the bear market, basically none of these were around. And now we have a complete system where you can trade, you can swap tokens, you can lend out tokens, there's yield farming around here, there's DEX aggregators. So let's go through all of this. So firstly, I just want to touch on this. If you don't want my research before it comes to YouTube, check the Crypto Investor course down here. I update it for free with all of my latest research very often. That comes for free for existing users. We're in a very pivotal time right now. Bitcoin halving in 6 months. The time after the halving is when crypto goes through its growth phase. So investing around this time is incredibly important for that next phase of growth. There's 300 more videos here as well. You can have a look via the link in the description. If you want to come talk to me or the other investors in those groups, in the private groups, it's all there as well, but you can check the link below. So what has been built on Cardano throughout this bear market? Essentially an entire DeFi ecosystem, DeFi primitives, right? Trading, lending, there's yield farming going on, NFTs as well. It's all here and been built throughout this bear market, but how are they going and what is the uptake of them? So firstly, let's look at TVL on Cardano. Now, as we know, TVL is, it's a metric. It's not the metric to look at, but it's just something we can compare to other chains. So throughout this bear market, ADA TVL is essentially an all-time high right now. So that means that users are using these DeFi primitives, right? They're putting more value on. Now, remember, the price of ADA is down. So if you look at this in USD terms, right, what we can see is that it's not an all-time high because obviously ADA is tied up in these DeFi primitives as well and some other tokens. But if we look at ADA TVL, what we're seeing is people are using and starting to grow the use case of these DeFi applications, right? So trading, lending, we can see down here. MinSwap is the Uniswap of Cardano. So it is the highest by TVL right now. You have Indigo, which is collateralized debt positions. So gets a bit complex, but you can collateralize different assets and then take collateralized debt positions against them. It's used for trading. You can go long and short certain assets. We won't get into that, but 40 million of TVL. What we can see here is lending as well. So we'll look at liquid, basically the Aave or compound of Cardano, 20 million TVL. And then we have the JED stablecoin here at 10 million. So JED stablecoin is a algorithmic stablecoin. It's not a dollar-backed stablecoin. This is one of the big holes in Cardano. It still doesn't really have one of the big stablecoins on there, which I will go through. But this is an ecosystem which is growing through the bear market, slowly but surely, just adding users, adding TVL. So that's very good news. Let's go have a look at what's going on here. What are the most used apps? MinSwap, JPEG Store. You can see some other decentralized exchanges here, some lending protocols. You have ADA Handle, which is the unique handles that you can have with ADA, so you can send ADA to a human readable address. Right, there's an ecosystem flourishing here, and you can see all of the applications. Now, during the last bull market, smart contracts weren't even here. Applications basically not here. Now, throughout this bear market, you have this explosion of applications. It's very, very good news. The thing that I will always say as just reality here is that the amount of users, the number of users is quite small. So that's both an opportunity and a threat. Obviously, with a small amount of users, you can't have a very high valuation. However, with a small amount of users, that can grow very quickly. And so what you're looking for with ADA is really for it to grow from this stage into the next stage. And all of these applications are laying the groundwork for a bull market throughout the bull market, in my opinion anyway. Now, one of the downsides here for Cardano is that it is just small and it is behind Ethereum in terms of when it launched, right? And so it is playing catch up with the amount of users. All of the DeFi primitives are here right now. The chain works, smart contracts work, the applications work. And so it's here and you just now need users coming in. Ethereum is still like the the silverback gorilla in the market, right? 50 to 60% market share, and everyone else is trying to kind of, clam around for what's left. But you have Ethereum here, Base is growing from Coinbase. They have a lot of users. You have Tron here, which is taking a huge amount of DeFi, essentially because of stablecoins that are so big on here. So that's how the market looks right now. But it can change very quickly. And I want to go through that later on in the video, why Cardano, what are the benefits of Cardano in how it has been designed? Because for me, there's a big difference between something like Tron, which is Tron, and they develop Tron and they use Tron, whereas Ethereum and Cardano are really seen as more neutral settlement layers, and so they can have more users that develop on them, right? So third parties that develop on them, whereas Tron maybe is just doing their own thing, and so maybe theoretically couldn't grow as big as them because it's seen less as neutral settlement versus something like Ethereum, which is very, very broadly decentralized with the amount of users. So I hope that makes sense. Cardano, I see more like Ethereum and less like Tron, but we'll see how that goes over the years. There's been so many applications launching on Cardano that I can't go through them all, but let's have a look at some of these. This is Dex Hunter. Mentioning these is not, saying they're good or bad. I just want to have a look at some of the apps that have launched. This is a Dex aggregator. You can see a lot of data here. So let's have a look at trends. You can see all of the live trades that are going through on the blockchain right now. So these are pending right here. These have been successful. So trading of, various tokens on Cardano. One of the downsides of ADA is that there aren't stable coins and there aren't real world assets on Cardano right now. They are coming. That is something I'll discuss in a second. But what we're seeing here is an ecosystem of DeFi. These tokens are being used and traded, and so there is activity here. It's actually quite exciting, and the bear market is obviously the time to actually look at this rather than the bull market. Option flow, which is an options protocol. Derivatives on Cardano. Derivatives are a huge market, so options and futures and things like that coming on chain is definitely big. There are some things you need to be aware of with that, is that we're moving more and more towards even on-chain stuff having to be KYC'd, right? So Uniswap are looking to implement something where they can actually trade with KYC'd users. So you can use DIDs, which Cardano is having as well, decentralized IDs. So a token that represents the fact that you're American or European or whatever, and you can or can't trade. So that's coming. That's fine. It's not good or bad. But what we're seeing is the DeFi primitives being launched on Cardano, which is good. And they're going to have to KYC for the most part as well in the countries that require it. All-in-one DeFi platform, liquidity DEX, yield optimizer on Genius Yield. Linkage Finance, which is a decentralized index fund protocol. So index funds are where you take a bunch of assets together, put them in a fund, and then that's investable. That's a security. So again, you're going to have to make sure that securities laws that are being met, right? You can't just create products that are, not compliant, but the DeFi primitives are here. Bringing real world assets on chain is important because that's actually what people want to invest in and use. Lace is Cardano's wallet, although there are many others that people use as well. Tap Tools as well, which is like a wallet tracking platform. Actually very good application, that one. This is a cloud computing platform for shared storage. So everything is being built, right? Everything that needs to be built for this decentralized blockchain ecosystem is being built and is now available. A few years ago during the bull market, we were talking about just Cardano and having smart contracts and having assets issued. The amount of growth that's happened in like 12 to 18 months is actually insane, in my opinion. All of this stuff is launching throughout this bear market where prices are low, and people aren't getting excited about it, but this is all happening. I want to show you this as well, which is Liquid, which is kind of the compound or Aave of Cardano. See this growth, right? See this growth in total value locked. So people are using their assets now. People are growing their asset TVL on Liquid. This is through a bear market. Now, again, 18 million, it's very small, but it's gone from zero, right? So zero, and you can just see that people are coming to actually use these DeFi primitives now. So it's very, very good. In terms of usage of Cardano, again, I just want to highlight that the actual nominal amount of users is very small, right? So again, that can grow very quickly, but it is a worry where you have, users on Ethereum and other chains, which, are just nominally much more. And so users are usually attracted to liquidity rather than anything else. And so it's something that Cardano needs to grow more, is the amount of users. But this is coming on slowly, and you're going to grow users through a bull market, not a bear market. New ADA wallets per day, you can just see it spiking here. So throughout the bear market, maybe 1,000 to 2,000 a day, very, very low. We've just seen a spike up recently though, up to around 3,500 wallets a day. So that shows you how quick things can change from 1 to 3, right? So 3x in user wallets, added to the blockchain. So hopefully this continues up. If you can just see above my head here as well, you can see transactions per day, and payments per day. We're looking somewhere in the region of 56,000, 60,000 transactions, 150,000 payments, something like that. User growth low during a bear market, maybe picking up a little bit. So everything looks, fairly solid here for Cardano. Just to put some of this into perspective as well, because I think this is important. This is Bitcoin address growth momentum. And you can see that right now, Bitcoin is adding around 500,000 addresses per day. So that uses a UTXO system, so it's comparable with ADA. It's easy to compare. 500,000 addresses a day on Bitcoin. Not each one of those is an individual human being. There are going to be lots of addresses created through exchanges or just other people creating multiple addresses that, it's the same person. But it gives you an overview of what's happening. So 500,000 a day for Bitcoin, like 4,000 a day for ADA. So there's a big difference there. And, Bitcoin is known worldwide. Cardano really isn't yet. So there's opportunity in growing that, but just the size difference is major. And these are two massively different investments, right? So between Bitcoin and Ethereum. The other thing we want to see here is if we go down the list, we can eventually see Cardano. Cardano is way down the list in terms of how much money it's making as a blockchain. So you can see that here. Fees, 30 days. Now, this data may not be perfect because a lot of things aren't measured properly with Cardano anyway. These sites don't measure them properly, but around $140,000 in fees per 30 day, according to Token Terminal. So where does that stack up? If you look at the other chains, we go up the list here and we're looking at, Tron at 90 million per month, Ethereum at 72 million per month. Uniswap even at $21 million per month in fees. BNB chain here at 8 million. If we see, an L2 like Base, that's 2 million. Arbitrum making 2 million. So now, ADA is supposed to be a collateralized asset, right? A store of value asset for its system. However, income does matter. Okay, investors over the long term are going to be looking for a return on their investment. And we know that Cardano pays a dividend yield essentially, which is a staking rewards. Ethereum does that, Tron does that. These other systems earn more money than Cardano right now. This is something that Cardano has to work on. They need more users and they need them to be doing more in transaction volume because the amount of money it earns has to move upwards if it is to have investors look at it and say, oh, this is an ecosystem that's growing and paying rewards and actually giving me a positive return on my investment, because otherwise they're going to look at ETH and say, well, this thing's giving me a real yield on my investment, paying 2-3% right now in staking rewards, which is real yield, right? And so they're going to flock towards that. So Cardano has to work on this, actually getting more activity on chain. You can't do that in a bear market, but everything's there now for that to happen for the bull market. Cardano's just at a different stage in its growth versus Ethereum right now, but can it catch up? And also, how is it valued now at this stage in its growth versus what ETH was valued at the same stage? So let's have a look at that. So I tweeted this out the other day. What I think really is that ADA is in competition with Ethereum, Solana, BNB, some other smart contract chains, right? These chains really are a system, a trusted neutral trade settlement system. It's different to BTC, which is that a little bit, but it's really about money, right? The base chain on Bitcoin is never going to have anything other than Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin can be seen as neutral world money, whereas with these smart contract chains, the market they're going for is different, right? You're looking at issuing real world assets like stablecoins, treasuries, bonds of other nations, corporate bonds, right? Bond issues. We're seeing that happen on smart contract chains more and more. And so that's really the market that they're going for. And it's massive. I mean, FX is a multiple $1 trillion trade volume market. So it's a big market to go for. And there are benefits of using blockchains. So ETH, ADA, BNB, they're all going for like the same market, which is that smart contract market. So this is it here. And, I think there will be a few large winners. So where is Cardano in its growth stage right now compared to Ethereum? You can see right here, Cardano has 150 million TVL on DeFi right now. Around 200 it peaked at, 200, 150 million. Now, Ethereum in 2019 had 200 million TVL. So it pretty much went from naught to like 200 million straight away. They turned on DeFi and here you go. Ethereum was valued around $15 billion at that time. And now it's 200 billion. So huge growth. It timed the market perfectly. It all came on right at the amount, the time when money was being printed and everyone was stuck at home and they went online and wow, like NFTs and trading and everything, meme coins, it's all here. So it was a perfect timing from Ethereum's point of view, and it went from 15 to 200 billion. Cardano is now valued at 8 billion with the same amount of TVL that Ethereum had just at the start of that bull market. So Cardano is, I would not say undervalued in comparison to where ETH was at the same stage of growth. I would say it's cheaper than ETH. The fully diluted valuation of ADA right now is around 11 billion. So it's in the ballpark of Ethereum. So when you're saying, well, Ethereum's getting ahead, at the same stage of growth, Cardano is in the ballpark. And really now, what you're looking for is, can it grow its users like Ethereum did? Ethereum blew up in the last bull market. Can Cardano do that in the next bull market? They have opportunity, but there's a lot of competitors as well. And so Ethereum may keep its dominance for a while just because it is dominant and it has liquidity, which is where most people are drawn to. So let's look at Cardano versus Solana as well. Active users, according to DeFi Llama, around 30,000 and volume around 2 million. Again, these stats may be way off because the way that a lot of these websites track Cardano isn't really extremely accurate. Stablecoin market cap 15 million. If we look at Solana here, active users 75,000. Again, this may not be accurate because Solana has a lot of wallet addresses that interact, which aren't individual human beings. But you're looking at stablecoins market cap 1.5 million and fees and revenue a lot higher than Cardano. Cardano doesn't have a dollar-backed stablecoin yet, and it is a massive hole in the product offering of Cardano. It needs a stablecoin. It has to happen. I can't believe it hasn't happened yet because the main use case of blockchains right now is Eurodollars. TVL on Solana has been absolutely, obliterated. So it's now got around 300 million TVL. I think Cardano, with its growth here, could actually overtake Solana with TVL because I just believe the activity here is strong and you're seeing real users come in and it's starting to grow. And remember, no stable coins right now. I know they have some bridged versions, but I don't think they need to be native on chain. Once they're native on chain, you can get a proliferation of trade volumes and people putting TVL on here. So again, it's looking good for Cardano. There's a lot of competition around trying to take TVL away. But Cardano's in its own lane and it is growing its TVL and its valuation is, not under what other ecosystems were valued at this stage of growth. Now I want to talk about stablecoins on Cardano because without real stablecoins on ADA, they are running a sprint with their ankles tied together. This is just pure data and it is so frustrating to have a system that is trying to compete against Solana, BNB, Tron, and all these, and it doesn't have any stablecoins. Now it has JED, but JED is not something that large amount of users are going to want to use. It's an algorithmic stablecoin. No real money is going to flow into that. It's cool. It's some people use it as an experiment. But what we're talking about here now with crypto is multiple billions to trillions of dollars of trade volume that want to go through these ecosystems, and they want a large, trustworthy stablecoin. Right, so let's have a look at stables. You can see this. Transaction volumes, are just being completely overtaken by stablecoins. Bitcoin, transaction volumes and trade volumes, ETH, other L1s, getting destroyed, absolutely destroyed. Eurodollars are a huge market. Eurodollars being dollars outside of the US banking system. So let's have a look at this. This is Tron, and I want to look at Tron because it's important, right? When everyone's looking at Cardano ADA saying the technology is better and everything like this, end users do not care. They do not care about technology or any of the stuff like we get excited about with different versions and upgrades. They do not care. And so it's something that ADA needs to work on, is business development and actually developing products that people want. Because they're going to take it up in other chains. So Tron, transfers of USDC and T, they are extremely strong throughout this bear market. This is what people want, and Cardano doesn't have it. Now you say, why don't they have these stablecoins? I want to show you this clip first. USDC can be on Cardano, and they chose not to because they didn't want to pay the money. See this clip.
Circle says that they're not doing or not planning anything for Cardano because there are no developers on Cardano, or not no developers, but there's not a lot of developers. How come we have an industry?
Your source is a bull-faced liar. Your source is a bull-faced liar. The reason why they're not deploying is that the foundation won't pay them the 8-figure amount that they want to deploy. It has absolutely nothing to do with the amount of developer adoption. It has everything to do with pay to play.
So an 8-figure amount, we're talking about 10 million, 12, 15 million. I don't know how much it is. I actually tweeted out that Cardano just should have paid it. It is not a lot of money to pay for a trusted name like USDC to issue natively on Cardano. This is what people want. You can see all of the other chains that have clearly paid this money because they see it as actually an opportunity to make more. Let's say it's 10, 12 million or whatever to get USDC on ADA. The amount of trade volume and fees that come from that is worth paying for it, in my opinion. This is what people want to trade, and without ADA having this, it's a problem. Now, there is a stablecoin coming, and it should be coming in, apparently, according to this group, Q4 this year. So let's say maybe Q1 next year, because these things are all delayed. So there is a US dollar stablecoin coming, which is great news. However, the brand is not Circle. They don't have the tie-ups, they don't have the volume, right? They don't have all of the backing in terms of the size and scale and scope. They don't have the trade volumes. So it's not going to be as big as having Circle on there, in my opinion. It's good, but it's a new brand, right? Can you trust them? Are they going to have teething issues? Is something going to get tied up? Whereas Circle has the backing of these big investors, BlackRock, right? Coinbase, real tie-ups. And so that's where the size is. You want size and scale and trade volumes. Having it is great, it's good, but what we want is Cardano to be the biggest. And so it needs Tether and USD Coin to be natively issued on these chains. And they need to do it, and they need to pay the money to get it done. When I look at the competitive landscape that Cardano is in, I think one of the reasons why Cardano performed so well in the last bull market, I know it's come down from those highs a long way, but why people get excited about ADA is because they inherently know it is one of those really, truly neutral settlement systems, right? So when we're looking at Ethereum, you have Binance, Coinbase, Bybit launching layer 2s on ETH. Because they know it's credibly neutral, there's a lot of trade volume there. It's not a competitor to those firms. When you're looking at banks who have been testing out bond issues and foreign currency transactions on these chains, you're looking at Ethereum, and they're doing that on Polygon as well. Credibly neutral settlement. When you're looking at something like Tron, that's really their own blockchain for their own competitive products. BNB similar as well, right? It's going to be BNB and Binance that are using this. You're not going to have like a bank wanting to use BNB chain. So when people look at Cardano, what they're saying is, yeah, it's like Ethereum. It's actually genuinely credibly neutral. It's not competitor, but it's just a system that people can take advantage of, which is why people get excited about it. So there's competition here. ETH, let's put Solana in that as well, because they're not really competition. Cardano, looking maybe Polkadot here, those credibly neutral settlement systems. Out of these, these are going to be competing for, probably number 3 spot, or even maybe competing with ETH. Now, I think really trade volumes are going to be split amongst multiple chains, but there are going to be a few big winners. Cardano is in the mix. I don't think it's behind. I think we're just getting started. And there are certain reasons to use Cardano for certain things, for example, fixed income assets and things like that. So there are reasons why people would use ADA. There are reasons why they wouldn't, but it's in the mix. It works. It's a reliable blockchain. Now what I want is just more business development and actually ADA, Cardano Foundation or whoever, going out and trying to get more users on the blockchain. I will be updating the Crypto Investor course with some more research updates around the turn of this year. We're very close to the Bitcoin halving, so it's an important time. Check the link below if you want to get involved with that. I'm James, it's MoneyZG. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.